Permission groups are a very important part of how to maintain security properly inside Easy Security. You would build a group that basically matches a job function. You can add many permission sets, and you can actually also combine groups together. One thing you also can do is initially give people access, maybe with quick security or maybe even super, but you have already defined the group that you later on is actually going to be changing at that point. So you can basically map people to the different job functions right away, even if you end up deploying super permissions initially at that point. To get access to login and to the code in NAV, standard NAV will actually be using either a permission set called Foundation, that is kind of limited in access, or Basic, that actually gives you a lot of read permission also on top of what the Foundation will give you in there. With Easy Security, we do not use any of the base NAV functions, so we will actually have separated the fact that you can log into NAV to one permission set and another one that gives objects. And for quick security, that means we will have the ES_Q as login and the ES_Q as objects. For segregation of duties, there's two other permission sets being used. After you change a group, it can actually affect a lot of things. It is possible to go publish a single login, so you can test with one person before you have several people that maybe can't do anything because of a change to a group in here. I have a database where Easy Security has already been set up in. I have several permission groups in here. Some of them are data we have imported based on the permission sets we deliver. These ones are kind of meant as templates. They're not necessarily matching what customer service is doing inside your company, but it is an example of how it could actually be done in here. There's also a few about quick security, and they will actually be used typically to gain the base access and then use other permission sets for the rest of it in there. And then in my database, I have some examples down here. These examples are using the normal NAV security, and I can see I have basic so people can get into the system, and then the functions they are actually going to be performing in here. So this one is not just a single task, it's actually everything a person working in customer service will be doing in here. We can also combine these groups. So if I view the group here, Operation Manager, I'll be able to see that it can do the same as three other groups together, plus the ability to actually work with the item journals in here, allowing an easy way to build a structure, basically build the lowest level, and then combine it and add additional permissions as you were doing it in here. If you want to build a whole new group in here, it is quite easy. I'll make a new one in here and I'll call it Finance. I can add from permission sets, I can either add one at a time, but I can also go in here and add multiple permission sets. So I can go in and say they need basic so they can get into the system. And then I can find the permission sets additionally I want to allow them in here. And I'll just hold down the control key and select multiple one in here. So allow them to use journals and things like that one in here. And I'll go ahead and add those 7 permission sets to my group in here. So in that way, it is quite easy to build these groups in here. If I had modified an existing group in here, I will like to go test this one in here. So let's say I actually went in here to sales and I decided that I really didn't want my people to be able to post sales documents any longer. So I would actually go ahead and delete that line in here. This one could have implication on a lot of people actually in here. So when I remove something like that one, I maybe want to go test with a single person. And there's several flow fields in here giving a lot of information. And in my database, I actually really only have one person using that one, and I can see it's a user Susan in here. But if I had a whole list of them, I could pick one, and then I would actually go to the list of logins, find that user, and publish that selected to live in here. So instead of publishing all the changes, I will do a single user, get the feedback from that user if it works and they can still do the task they need to do, before I will do a full publish and maybe have 15 people or so that wouldn't be able to do anything in here. But the publishing selected to live here is something you can use selectively, because the other thing, of course, when I removed this one in here, it also affected people that were using the larger group, of course, in there. But permission groups are really a very easy way of combining this one and thinking about it in a way that you deal with the jobs or the different kind of work people do inside the company in here. So the one thing always to think about when you're defining a new group is people need to have some way of getting into NAV and also code access, and that of course is depending on the version in there.